Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Come on in and hit that like button. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button. Flyboy 901, what's going on? Silver American, what's going on? Google E, what's going on? What's up? What's up? This is going to be a great discussion, as always. As always, this is going to be a great discussion. Y'all can see I got my cup of coffee out here this morning. Sun is not out. It's a cloudy day, but it feels good out here, on this porch. Come in and answer the poll, right? Y'all already seen the title, right? It's getting messy out here. Co says appreciate the gifted membership. I think Moy gave you that. Shouts out to Moy. John, the American dream is overseas. Silverman America says, oh, we definitely cooked. We're gonna talk about it, man. We're gonna talk about it. But what's today? Today's Thursday. So happy Thursday to you ninjas. Hope your week is going good. It's getting to the end of the week. Hope you had a productive week. Hope you had a safe week. Memorial Day weekend is gone, ninja. So yeah, it's time to get back to work. It is officially the start of the summer. And that doesn't mean people get to get out here and get all lackadaisical. Vacations have been canceled. Flights have been canceled. Disneyland, Disney World has been canceled, ninja. Yeah, it's not looking too good out there, right? Sip Hop says top of the morning, brother. And this content is real for real, man. Yep. This is real content. Bringing it to you live and direct. Listen, I'm not sure what is the cause or if the cause is because of economic issues, but there's a store down the street. If you're from Texas, called Tom Thumb, right? So as of yesterday, they're now doing I guess a rapid sale, 50% off, right? They're closing down that store. So I'm not sure if that's because of, economic issues, but I would probably guess to say it probably is because of, economic downturns. There are many stores all across the nation that are closing down stores. Many big corporations, many big conglomerates are now downsizing due to, well, lack of financials, right? Companies, big corporations are not even making the same money that they did 10, 15 years ago, right? And on top of that, AI, automation. So a lot of big companies, they're downsizing. They don't need the overhead capital anymore. Dan 22, what's going on? Dan 22 says on the clock, but I'm tapped in. Shouts out to Dan 22. And go over there and check out if you haven't already. Dan got a YouTube channel over there. Go over there and check out Dan's YouTube channel. He's over there grinding like everybody else, trying to put in that work. So shouts out to Dan. Sparta says, yo, shout out from the UK. UK is in the building. Shouts out to the UK. Sitting in my office thinking the West is indeed effed. Stay strong, gentlemen. It's about to get dangerous. Yeah, listen. Yesterday I posted a video, an old video. I put it in my post, right? I put that video in the post, and this was a year ago, right? And I have videos that I've taken off of my YouTube over the past 2 years. But I've been saying this before even your guy Trump got into office. I said what was going to happen. I said mass layoffs. I said mass layoffs, joblessness. I said because of economic downturns, and I said because of AI and automation. I said that, and then what was next? I said mass homelessness, right? Mass homelessness, and as we can see, in the middle of an economic downturn, right? In the middle of an economic downturn, the administration is cutting Medicaid, Medicare, housing vouchers, food stamps in the middle of an economic downturn, right? See, I'm all for getting people off the nipple, right? I'm all for that, right? Get people off the nipple, stop people from, just relying on the government, relying on, government to come save them and this, that, and the third, right? I'm all for that. However, right, in the middle of an economic downturn, right, where jobs are laying off people, where people can't even find jobs, I think it's quite despicable, to be honest, right? Like I said, I'm all for getting people off the nipple, but doing that to the American people in the midst of there being no jobs, in the midst of people struggling financially, I think it's kind of despicable, to be honest with you, right? Especially for the younger generation, right? Especially for the younger generation, right? Off the nipple, no Diddy. Shouts out to Young Cartier, right? And googly, yes, it's going to get dangerous because if more and more people listen, I don't care what your faith is and all of that stuff. Listen, when a human being get desperate, they get desperate, right? When people get hungry, they get hungry, right? All morality goes out the door for you moral ass ninjas, right? All morality goes out the door when shit hits the fan, right? America's not a moral country in the first place. We pretend to be moral, right? We pretend to be moral. We don't have any moral authority over the world, and no, right? When shit hits the fan, people are going to show their true human nature, right? So, because of mass homelessness, because people are getting laid off and people are being unemployed, people are staying unemployed for a longer period of time. We're going to see rising crime, right? We're going to see rising crime. We're going to see rising theft. People are already on edge for a variety of different reasons, whether that be political reasons, right? Whether that be just plain out desperation. People are frustrated. People are hungry, right? People are desperate, right? So people are bound to pop. I'll give it any time now, right? It doesn't take much. Sparta says, bro, it's done on purpose. Once you take God and morals out of society, degeneracy will take its place, right? But I mean, God goes out the door when you get hungry. If you ask me, let's get these likes up. God goes out the door when you get hungry, right? When society starts to decay, all the whole God pill goes straight out the door, right? Oh, civil American, yeah, yes, sir. It's all going according to plan, right? And if you've been watching YouTube lately, there's been many channels popping up on even on my feed. A lot of people talking about how they're getting laid off, how they've been looking for a job for the past 6, 7 months. Some people have been looking for a job since freaking last summer, right? Some people have been looking for the same job since the pandemic, right? People have been looking for jobs for a long time. People have been laid off. Some people have been laid off for a whole year at this point, right? I know people who've been doing food delivery, Uber Eats and all of that stuff for a whole freaking year, right? Not being able to find a proper job. And we're talking about from the highest of the highest end. So we're talking about software engineers who've had to go to Uber, right? Go to DoorDash. to to the lower end who can't find any job, and even some people with degrees, they can't even find a job at Wally World, Ninja. They can't even find a job at Wally World, right? Jay says, "What do you think of people living in storage units?" Well, I think people have to do what they have to do, right? I think it's despicable that we stay in a basically a first world country, that people are staying in storage units. I think it's pretty despicable, but that lets you know where we are, right? America's a first third world. America's a developed third world. That's it, right? And I've been preaching this to you guys for the past 2 years. I said, get all your stuff in order. Right? People have been sitting around here lollygagging. I told you to get certifications. I told you to get skills, right? So now we're in desperate times, right? Now we're in desperate times. Now you have no choice, right, but to rely on yourself. So now we're going to see the rise in, more sovereign, individuals, right? Most people are definitely going to be left behind, for sure. For sure. Most people are going to be left behind, but those that figure it out, they're going to become the sovereign individuals, the sovereign man, the sovereign, woman, right? I told you guys a long time ago, blockchain is here to stay, right? AI is here to stay. Automation is here to stay, right? There is no going back, right? A lot of these jobs that you guys see today, they're not coming back, right? And everybody's replaceable. Doctors are replaceable. Attorneys are replaceable, right? Mundane work is replaceable, right? Many white collar jobs are going to be completely wiped out, and they're never coming back. They're never coming back, right? You ninjas are cooked out here, ninja. So you better get to learning how to grow. Let me show you something. You better start learning how to grow some things. I got something over here cooking up right here. Got something cooking up over here. Got some basil. Got some basil leaves cooking up over here. Right? And I have some tomatoes. I have some tomatoes in the inside. I have some tomatoes in the inside that are just now sprouting up, that I'm about to get ready to put in a pot, and getting some more stuff as well. But yeah. So EJ contradicting to tell people to up their skills, but AI is taking skill jobs, dude. Okay, contradictory. So what I mean by skills, right? And well, first and foremost, context matter. So I did say that over the past 2 years, I've been saying get your skills up, right? Learn the things that the companies are teaching you, so that you can take that knowledge, take that information, and do for yourself, and not rely on jobs, right? So when I talk about skills, right, there are certain jobs that are AI and automation proof for now, right? And many of those jobs and skill sets are in the trades, right? Many of those jobs and many of those skill sets are in the trades. So I specifically talk about trades, and I specifically talk about, entrepreneurship, right? So when I talk about skills, when I talk about trades, in particular, I'm telling you, now is the time that you're gonna have to go into business for yourself, right? Those 2 years ago, right? 2 years ago, I already talked about trades. I've already talked about, the skills that you should be going into, right? Amir says ownership is important, right? So that's what I mean. So if you think I'm contradicting myself, sorry, but that's what I really mean, right? People are too reliant on the nipple, People are too reliant on the nipple, right? They're too reliant on the corporate industrial complex. People got used to being paid uh, their paycheck every week, every 2 weeks, right? People got used to that. People got used to the government coming and saving them. People got used to food stamps. People got used to government housing. People got used to, subsidized housing. People got used to it, right? People got used to the government always coming. I mean, I don't know how people even thought that. The government never had it. Listen, I remember in college. A ninja could barely put $5 in my gas tank, right? I remember working part time at Pizza Hut, Ninja. I remember working part time at Pizza Hut, and the only time I could put gas in my tank is when I went to go to work. And this is when I was in school. I remember applying for food stamps in college, right? And this is the time that I actually needed. I needed it, right? I needed the food stamps, especially in college, right? I got denied. I got denied food stamps in college for making too much money. I was like, Ninja, what? I make too much money? I was like, Ninja, I'm barely making $300 a week. I'm barely making $300 a week, and that's if people tipped. But I remember applying for food stamps, and they was like, nope, denied. Sorry, you make too much money. And I'm like, bruh, what? In the meantime, you got baby mamas out here with 50 million kids, right? No job, not doing anything, or even working part time, and they getting like $50 million in food stamps. I'm like, bruh, you can't make this up. I swear, they picked and choose who they gave help to. But if you know the system, you'll know that many men, especially young men, they you don't you can't qualify unless you have a disability, right? They're not handing out men any kind of government anything, right? Because they look at you as young and able bodied, so they're not going to give you anything. I remember I was like, bruh, so how people around here, I'm like, how people around here getting food stamps and all of this stuff, and they work their part-time job, they got $1,001 on their food stamps card, and then they selling it. They selling the food stamps too, and I'm like, bruh, let me report somebody. I'm like, let me report somebody. And I'm like, and then that was the time that I actually needed help, right? If any time that I actually needed help from the government, from Daddy Gov, pause, no Diddy, it was during that time when I was actually struggling. I was in school trying to focus on my studies, right? Barely had enough money to put gas in my gas tank. Remember I had a 1999 ES, a Lexus ES 300, right? Lexus ES 300, that thing used to get stuck on the highway. The engine used to just go out right on the highway. I'm like, bruh, I was in struggle mode. I was in struggle mode, right? But yeah, if you're on your own, right? If you're a man, you're on your own. And now it is about to show more than ever, right? Like I've been telling you guys for a whole year. Now it's about to show more than ever who's actually made of something. Who's actually made of something? A lot of guys are not prepared, man. A lot of guys are not prepared. A lot of men are not prepared. Men in America are far too far behind, right? These ninjas still at home, right? Sucking their mama titties at 30 years old, right? They're still at home sucking their mama titty at 30 years old, not doing anything, right? Still work at Wally World. I mean, I guess any job is better than no job at this point, but I mean, ninja, ninja still professional gooning, like ninja stuck gooning, and that's all being done on purpose too. right? All of that has been done on purpose to get you addicted to the BS, to get you addicted to pornography, to get you addicted to the OF. Shouts out to Moore. Moore is in the building. What's going on? Tap and gang. Wow, because I see it well, but that's because I see my life being well and I'm focused on me. Yes, sir. Shouts out to Moore. Go over there and subscribe to Moore. Moore got a channel going on over there. If you haven't already, Googly says they're on a tick because the Big Daddy Gov made it that way for most. Yep. Shouts out to Moore. But yeah. And I see, let's see. Let's see. This is an interesting poll. I said, are Americans giving up on America? So 73% is yes right now. We're gonna keep the poll going. 73. Let's get these likes up too. 73% says yes, and 27, a quarter, says no. Well, the thing is, let's read what Jay says. Jay says, bro, I got wrote up at my job this morning for some ish I did months ago that wasn't even my fault. It was the janitor fault because they were supposed to clean out a certain room in a hospital. Yeah. Listen, you better stay on your P's and Q's. Shouts out to Moy for the super chat. Said for the love of the game and nice to see Young in the building. Yes, sir. Yep. But this is the game now. So I got a question for you guys. What is the American dream to you at this point? John says Donald Trump will not save you. Listen, I'm done with Donald Duck, man. I'm done. I'm done with Trumpy Dumpy. I'm done with it. I supported it. I supported it at the beginning. Now it's a shit show. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I supported it. I supported it at the beginning. I mean, it was a better choice. It was a better choice out of no choice, right? But now at this point, it is a shit show. It's a whole shit show. Whatever he's claiming to try to fix in his short 4 years is he's not going to fix, right? He's basically already, eradicated any kind of friendships with other countries at this point, allies or not. I mean, those relationships probably are not even reconcilable at this point. You got Russia off the hinges. You have Israel. They have us in their back pocket, right? Bent over the bed frame. Pause. No Diddy. What else? Should I go on? You have hypocrisy after hypocrisy, lies after lies, clear as day lies that can clearly be researched and fact checked, like with a simple Google search. I mean, like I said, I supported it at the beginning because it was a choice out of no choices, right? It looked like the better choice. But at this point, yeah, Trumpy Dumpy, yeah, he needs to go. He's unhinged, right? Not professional, not a president, not a leader. Should I go on? I mean, he looks like a buffoon up there on the world stage. America is constantly looking like a country full of idiots. I mean, which I can vouch for. This is a country full of idiots, right? And I'll take it on the chin. I'll take it on the chin of, me supporting Dumpy Trumpy, in the beginning. I'll take that to the chin. I'll take that. But as of now, no. As of now, no. As of now, he's just looking like a ploy. He's just looking like somebody that was intentionally put in to bring the downfall of America, which was going to happen probably whoever got in there anyway. But he's definitely speeding it up. Moy says, since 1984, every year I voted for myself. At this point, you got to vote for yourself. Happy to be here with you folks. America to me is me being the best I can be for everybody. Yep. Yeah, this ninja pardon NBA young boy. This ninja pardon what's his name? What's his name? Was it Larry Hoover ninja? This ninja pardon Larry Hoover. I'm like, Larry Hoover? You talking about big gangster? You talking about Big Meech? Not Big Meech. You talking about Big GD? Larry Hoover? What? I'm like, this ninja lost his mind. This ninja freed a whole gangster out here. I'm like, bro. Then he freed what was the two people name from the reality show? Who went to prison for tax fraud? They had the reality show. I forgot their name. They had the reality show. Somebody know it. Somebody know who I'm talking about. But he freed them for tax fraud. I'm like, bruh. He said he didn't pardon any inventors that got locked up for making free energy though. No, he didn't. He didn't pardon anybody that mattered. Shouts out to Maury for the super chat. He didn't pardon anybody that mattered, right? The couple. I forgot their name. Y'all didn't put it in here. The white couple. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Who had the reality show? Was it a cooking show or something? Whatever they name it. They had a reality show, and they went to prison for tax fraud, right? So this ninja pardoning whole criminals. The Chrissy family, exactly. The Chrissy family. Appreciate that, lottery guru. So this ninja freeing I mean, he's pardoning criminals. He's pardoning criminals, right? Not people who possibly could be in prison for a wrongful arrest or an unfair trial, who couldn't afford an actual attorney, the DNA doesn't match or anything. This ninja pardoning a young boy, the king of YNs, ninja. What? The king of YNs, he pardoning young boy, and then pardoning the Chrissy family, which they went down for tax fraud, proven to be involved in tax fraud in the federal courts. Then this ninja went on to pardon Larry Hoover, a whole gangster out here who's probably responsible for probably more murders than we can count for, or that can even be solved. Ninja, I'm like, bro, you can't, bro. America has turned into a whole fucking reality show, bro. JC, what's going on? Cartier says we in a simulation, bro. You cannot make this up. He's literally pardoning whole criminals. But I guess it makes sense. I guess it makes sense. Right? Felons, no felons. Felons, no felons. I guess. But these people have no actual, no substance to really give society. Right? No substance to actually give society. But yeah, free them. Free whole convicted criminals. I guess. Don't free anybody who probably had an impartial trial, or you know what I'm saying, right? Who may not have been actually guilty, right? There's some mishaps in what the persecution, presented, right? People who've been trying to get been trying to get retried because of lack of evidence. So John says Tory Lanez at least. Well, he got convicted in California state, I believe. Was he? I don't think he was a federal. I don't think that was a federal case. So the president can only pardon federal crimes, federal cases, right? He doesn't have jurisdiction over the state, right? But yeah, this is where we in. Like I said, I supported Trumpy Dumpy at the beginning, but now it's just absolute nonsense. Now it's absolute diabolical idiocracy at this point. And for anybody to still support Trump at this point, I mean, you're an idiot. I gave him the benefit of the doubt at the beginning. I mean, even the beginning was on shaky. Even the beginning was on shaky grounds because I'm like, I mean, first of all, the dude shouldn't even been able to run, being convicted in court by his peers. I mean, whether you want to say it's a fake trial, not fake trial, or they was coming after him or whatever. Ninja, how many ninjas have been to prison, been locked up because they didn't have a fair trial, ninja? So what? You know how many ninjas over the decades been locked up and persecuted, couldn't afford an attorney, ninja, and went down for 15, 20 years. Yeah, welcome to America, ninja. Welcome to America. This has been going on for as long as America has been in here, ninja. People have gotten unfair trials. People have been convicted by insufficient evidence, all kinds of stuff. What makes Trump any different, ninja? So he has been he already started on shaky grounds. He has been convicted by in a trial full of his peers, right? In a trial full of his peers, right? So he's a convicted felon. On paper, he's a convicted felon. He shouldn't have been able to run, right? So that was already red flag number one, right? Then the rest is fucking history, right? You try to you try to give him the benefit of the doubt, after the fact. Well, maybe these folks are trying to come after him. Maybe they are trying to, put a stop to democracy. Whatever democracy we have left, this is not a democracy anymore. This is a plutocracy, ninja. This is a plutocracy. There's a land ran by the rich and wealthy and the ones who have the money. The ones who have the money have to say so. This is not a democracy. So people are walking around here yelling democracy. Democracy left out a door before I was even born, ninja. Before I was even born. Right? This is not a democracy. Y'all still think it's a democracy? No, it's not a democracy. Right? Elon Musk showed you that. Elon showed you that it's not a democracy. And y'all still think the election wasn't bought? Shit. Shit. And I'm not saying the liberals are any better. I'm not saying the liberals are better. I'm not saying the Republicans are better. It's really F both sides, right? Right? Two wings to the same bird. There's no difference. There's really no difference to any one of them, right? There's no difference. There's no difference for any one of them, right? No difference. Both of them don't have standards, right? The left and the right, they don't have standards. They really don't have any values. They really don't stand for anything. They're really both of them are still in tax money, right? Everybody's taking money off the top, no matter who's in office. Yeah, go ahead and super chat because I'm spitting game to y'all. Hit that like button, right? We have 70 people in here. Hit that like button. Hit the super chat. This is going up on a replay. I'm gonna even chop this video down and make it into a actual video. But yeah, y'all keep walking around here thinking that Kamala should have got in office. No, the hell she shouldn't have. Kamala shouldn't have been in there either. Nah, no sir, no sirski. Just because I say Trump shouldn't have been in there, don't mean Kamala ass should have been in there. No sirski. Nope. She should have been as far from the office as possible, ninja. As far from the office as possible, ninja. Her ass shouldn't have been in there either. She shouldn't have been nowhere near office. And neither is Trump. Trump shouldn't have been in office either. As a matter of fact, Trump should have been in jail, but you know, people still relying on the government. Oh, maybe we should just vote Republican. Maybe we should just vote Democrat. Right? That'll solve all of our issues. Yeah, okay, Ninja. People are so behind, man. It's crazy how far Americans are behind, man. How is it? How is it that a communist state, right, which I'm, referring to China, how is it that a communist regime is able to innovate faster and more efficient and more accurate than a so-called free society? Can somebody give it? I really want somebody to answer that question for me. How is it that a so-called communist regime, right, is able to produce and innovate on a higher level than a so-called than a so-called free society, than a so-called capitalistic, free society? Is that possible? How is that possible? Can anybody answer that? I'm really wondering. Because if we actually stayed in a so-called free society, right, we should be doing much better than we are as a society, right? But we're not, right? LA NY says life has disintegrated into nothing more than a credit card and a book full of more questions than answers. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Right. Somebody says Diddy is being railroaded. Pause. No Diddy. Yeah, Diddy's been railroaded. I think he's gonna get that case is gonna go to the gutter. Right. But we're seeing what we're seeing in the West is in an outright assault on powerful men. Not even trying to remove them from accountability, because some of these ninjas actually did it. Did he do it more than he probably did, ninja? But look at, and I was gonna make a separate video on Andrew Tate, but as we can see, Andrew Tate has been charged. He's been charged in the UK, I believe. Shouts out to the bruvs. Shouts out to the bruvs in the UK. In the UK, bruv. UK bruvs. Where my UK bruvs at? Where are my UK bruvs? But Andrew Tate has been charged with rape and assault on some women. He was originally charged in Romania, but now he's been charged in the UK. Ninja, listen, it's only so much you can blame the Matrix and all of that stuff on. There's only so much you can blame that stuff on, Ninja. At this point, it's looking like something is going on for you to be charged in more than one country. Moore says, I disagree. In a free society, if the population are idiots, the whole society will fail, as the idiots are driving the ideologies and also driving the market. Yeah, I mean, that too. I agree. I would say, especially in a country like America, right? The highest office is a reflection of the citizens, right? So yeah, I actually agree with you, Maury. The highest office, which what we're seeing now is a whole shit show, is a reflection of the citizens down below, right? So if we have an idiot in office, right? If we have incompetence in office, right? If we have what some may say a racist, in office, if we have a narcissist in office, if we have somebody in office that doesn't even know how economics work, right? So what that he was a businessman? There are plenty of businessmen who have made a living for themselves, not because they were actually smart, but because they surrounded themselves with competent people who could actually do the job. But what we're seeing in the highest office today is not only is he incompetent, but he surrounded himself with other incompetent people, right? Not because they can actually do the job, not because they're actually smart, not because, right, their credentials show that they can do this or do that. No, Trump is a loyalist, right? Trump is a loyalist, and he would surround himself if a squirrel, was by his side this whole time and voted for him the past, few elections, he would put that squirrel in fucking office because that squirrel was loyal to him. Regardless of that squirrel being a fucking animal, right? The only thing he can do is uh squirrel around this thing and eat dang on peanuts, right? It does not matter. He would put that squirrel over the CDC, ninja, if he could. And that's just the truth, right? So there's no more holding back the truth from you ninjas, right? I'm an open book, right? And I gotta call things how I see it. Like I said, at first, Trumpy Dumpy, I supported Trumpy Dumpy. Now you can't there's no denying it that every time this dude let's talk about you know what? Let's talk about when he brought the South African president, to the office, right? When he brought the South African president to the office, right? So there's been quote unquote conspiracy theories and all kinds of false information been circulating around about uh, a white genocide in South Africa, right? This has been proven time and time again to be false. There is no white genocide in South Africa, right? There is none. There is no proof of none. There's no nothing, right? And South Africa actually has a weak president, right? He should have stood on all 10 when it came to addressing President Trump, but he didn't, right? But that's neither here nor there. So he gets on live television, right? He gets on live television and promote a conspiracy theory, right? This is clear as day. There is no way that I can sit up there and actually like agree with the person who's literally sitting up here lying. Trump is sitting up on camera, live television, right? And lying about a white genocide in South Africa that is not happening, right? Mind you, right? And I'm gonna put it like this. Listen, I'm a nihilist, right? I'm really, I have no heart. So when it comes to places like South Africa, where the Dutch colonized the original people, who were there, killed them, raped them, right? Exiled them from their own land, stole land, and you have white South Africans, Afrikaners, who still hold land to this day, still hold stolen land to this day. If a sovereign nation wants to take land back, by any means necessary from a group of people who actually stole that land, well, by all means, take your shit back. I don't think America has any kind of moral authority, right, to get into anybody's business, right? Especially, trying to, claim something false that has been happening when we can look on paper and look at the amount of black South Africans who have been killed, who have been, all kinds of things throughout history, right? Land has been stolen, all kinds of things. This is ridiculous at this point. And I can't just sit back and just be like, yeah, yeah, there might be a white genocide going on, right? Bro, this is foolishness. There is no white genocide going on, and if there were, right, if there were, South Africa as a sovereign nation should handle business how they see fit, right? And giving that the black South Africans have been going through went through apartheid. Given that the black South Africans have been, killed, women raped, children, been not given a fair chance at life, right? Given that all of these things have happened in South Africa, I could give a flying F if South Africa wanted to take their land back by any means necessary. And that has nothing to do with, right, my opinion, right, has nothing to do with race, but by principle. It's the principle that matters. And if the roles were reversed, I would say the same thing, right? It's not about race, it's about the principle of it. And I think America lacks principle, right? And it's been lacking principle for the past Lord knows how long, right? Only the Lord knows how long, right? But no, I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I think it's absolutely asinine that the American people, well, Trump would get on the world stage and try to claim some kind of moral authority, as if America hasn't, you know, uh, partaken in its own injustice uh, against minorities and other people who weren't the majority. It's absolutely asinine, right? So y'all can sit around and think that, oh, this, that, and the third, so on and so forth, but it's not happening, right? Trumpy Dumpy, he's not gonna save you, right? Yeah, I'm speaking facts more. This is plain Jane facts, right? This is all facts, right? Googly says to rule the world, emotions have no place, right? I agree. Emotions have no place. You have to involve yourself. Like I said, you have to involve yourself in lies. You have to involve yourself in deception. You have to involve yourselves in a lot that is not good, right? America has had plenty of time to be the moral authority that they pretend to be, right? America has had plenty of time to be the moral authority that they pretend to be. But America, time after time after time, has shown that they cannot be trusted. They cannot be held accountable, right? They pretend to be moral authority while causing wars, while causing genocides, right? There's plenty of wars that silent wars that America is involved in right now, right? Plenty of them, right? And we can go on and on. We can talk about colonialism. We can talk about, so on and so forth, right? So on and so forth, right? But now the time is here, right? Now the time is here where uh, now other powers are rising up, right? Other powers are rising up. Now you have other countries who want to be big dog, right? China, India, Africa, Latin America. Now you have plenty of powers who want to be their own sovereign, nations, and they want to rise in power. Now it's here, right? Moore says, let's not forget Jesus was Palestinian. Nazareth is where Palestine is now, right? Yeah, I mean, we got to talk about it. But then y'all wonder why there's such a moral decay in America. Well, it's the people. It's the people, right? It's the people. Trump represents the people, right? Googly says, let them try. What's that? The American flag, the British flag, and Australia. Okay, guy. Googly, you must not know how economics work. This is not the 1800s. It's not the early 1900s. The United States ain't the only one with a nuke. Britain ain't the only one with a nuke. They're not the only ones with a military. Britain has fallen. United States has fallen. Australia is like super liberal. It's not happening. Googly, you saying let them try? The infiltration is done. What are you talking about? Googly says let them try. The infiltration is done. Ninja, what are you talking about? I guess you've been living under a rock. You've been watching me for how long? This is just with this. You've been watching this for how long? You've been watching the after pill for how long? Right? And then even before the after pill, the infiltration is done. Right? It's done. Didn't Russia show you that 2 elections ago? Didn't Russia show you that 2 elections ago? Didn't Russia show you how easy it was to infiltrate the American people through social media? This has been proven already. Russia did it. Russia did it. Russia infiltrated Russia with the help of China infiltrated America through TikTok and Facebook with the help of Facebook, with the help of Mark Zuckerberg. You guys are idiots, man. Why do you think Mark Zuckerberg had to stand before the United States Congress? You think that was for his health? Why do you think Mark Zuckerberg paid so much money, put up so much money for the Trump campaign, right? You thought that's because he actually support Trump? You thought Mark Zuckerberg actually support Trump? No, Mark Zuckerberg was trying to prevent himself from going to prison. That's what that was about. He was trying to prevent himself from going to prison. Coco, I can see your messages. That ninja said, "Nice try, ninja. Nice try, ninja. It's done. Where you been at?" This ninja said, "Nice try, ninja. It's done. Britain is done, ninja. They have more immigrants than actual natives at this point. Ninja, United States is done, right? The American people are a bunch of idiots, right? Don't know up from down and left from right. Ninja, Australia is like one of the most liberal freaking countries on the planet. Ninja, what you thought was gonna happen? He talking about some let him try, Ninja. Good luck, Ninja. Good luck. Cartier says let him try should be a slogan. It's a joke at this point. It's a joke when you don't understand power. It's a joke when you don't understand that there's people higher than the government pulling strings, right? Moy says most Americans can't read and write above sixth grade level. Yep. But he talking about let them try. Ninja, please. If Americans were going to rise up, it was going to be 30 years ago. Americans are 30 to 50 years too late. Americans sat around comfortable with their corporate jobs, right? They sat back and watched president after president after president F them with wars, F them with unnecessary taxes, stealing tax dollars going to unnecessary wars, tax dollars going disappearing. Ninja, they taking money off the top, right? We seen corrupt politician after corrupt politicians. Americans sat back and watched, right? Then they sold the future out, continue to borrow against the future of America, which means they borrowed against the boomers, borrowed everybody else's freedom, right? Or leveraged everybody else's freedom just for us to end up right here, right? So the boomers borrowed uh Gen X, leverage. They borrowed Gen Z's leverage. They borrowed millennials. They just kept borrowing, right? And everybody kept borrowing from the pot until it was all empty. And now Gen Z's turn. Right now it's Gen Z turn, and the pot is empty. The pot is empty. Gen Z scraping. Ugh. Gen Z scraping the pot. Like, Ninja, where's my gold at? Ninja, there's no gold left, right? Boomers got the most of it, right? Gen X got some scraps, and millennials were left to their own devices, and Gen Z they just threw y'all to the wolves, and that's it. And now we're here, right? Ninjas can't afford their student loans, right? On top of that, and that's another despicable thing too. Ninja, all of these billions of dollars being thrown at wars, Israel, all the money that's been thrown at Israel, like, bro, is Israel like our masters now? I guess so. I guess Israel is our masters. The amount of money that was thrown at the Ukraine war with Sleepy Joe and them in office, right? The amount of money that's been thrown at wars in general, Afghanistan, Iraqi war. But then when it comes down to Gen Z, and this is just common sense, right? This is just common sense, right? I do believe that people should pay their part. If you have a debt, then yeah, you should pay it. But let's break it down to common sense though. Let's break it down to common sense. Modern day degrees are not worth as much as they were back in, anywhere between the 60s and the 90s, right? Between the 60s and the 90s, degrees really mattered, right? When you went to college and got a degree, it really mattered. It really meant something to get a degree, from the 60s to the 90s, right? Even early 2000s before the internet boom, right? It really meant something, right? But now that it's Gen Z's turn, right? It's Gen Z's turn, and the degrees that they hold can't even it can't even afford them basic necessities, right? Even STEM degrees nowadays, right? Like I've said before, you have Ivy League graduates who they're graduating with prestigious degrees, right? On top of graduating from a prestigious university, right? They're even having a hard time, finding jobs, right? Given that they're graduating from a prestigious university with prestigious degrees in STEM, right? So that just goes to show you how bad it's gotten, right? And on top of that, not being able to find a job, and on top of that, dealing with the cost of living crisis, on top of that, dealing with inflation, and then on top of that, telling us after y'all have funneled money for wars and all kind of unnecessary shit, now we have to pay our loans back when you promised us, right? Y'all broke the social contract. Y'all promised us if we went and got a degree, right? We went and got a degree and started a family and this, that, and the third, we will be able to buy a house and be able to afford the quote unquote American dream, right? And now that's clearly not possible for the majority of people. But now on top of that, on top of you breaking the social contract, now you're telling us on top of that, after y'all paid for billions of dollars towards wars that could easily have been spent on freeing the American people up from debt, now you tell us we have to pay this back. Okay, America. Okay. Okay. I guess that sounds fair, huh? I guess that sounds fair. Yep. I guess that sounds fair. Oh, and then on top of that, I was 18 years old. In any other business, you know what this would be considered? This would be considered predatory. It would be considered predatory lending, right? If this was a bank, it would be considered predatory lending. If this was a car salesman, right? This would be considered predatory lending. But for some reason, an American backed loan, right? An American backed loan, who many 18-year-olds get fresh out of college, no knowledge of economics, no knowledge of numbers, no knowledge of anything, right? A bunch of 18-year-olds are able to pull out $50,000, $60,000 to go to school, right? With no knowledge of anything, no life experience, but that is not predatory. Okay. Okay, America. I see what you did there. I see what you did there, America. Yeah, you got me, man. You got me. It's crazy. Absolutely asinine. So trust me, I get it. I get it. And I preach hard work all the time. I preach hard work, get out here, bust your ass, because the government is not gonna do anything for you, right? See, the government has to make money too, right? Even if that means the government involve themselves in wars, even if that means the government tricking its own people, being predatory against its own people, right? Even if that means throwing his own people up under the bus, the government also is a machine and it has to make money, right? Even if that means telling you, you know, after you pulled out a loan because the government promised, hey, go and get a degree. It'll put you in a better spot economically, right? Go to this school. It'll put you in a better spot economically. You can come out and get this job and be able to, pay for this and pay for that. Bro, you come out of school. Most people who are coming out of school, they can't find a job first and foremost, right? And they can't find a job that even can even pay them to even stay afloat, right? So you have a bunch of people coming out of college, coming out of university, who can't even afford to stay afloat, let alone keep up with a car loan, let alone keep up with a student loan, let alone try to keep up with the cost of living, the cost of groceries, right? The cost of paying rent, the cost of paying a mortgage, right? Let alone start a family, right? You talk about starting a family, Ninja. Bare minimum, you need 100,000. That's minimum, right? Even for yourself, in most major cities, you need to be making 100. In most major cities, you need to be making $100,000. No kizzy, no cap. You know what the kids say nowadays? No kizzy, no cap. Right? You need to be making 100 flat. Right? And then y'all wonder why these chicks out here selling it. Hard times, Nick. You wonder why chicks out here, selling that cootie cat, right? They gotta sell that cootie cat, Ninja, right? You wonder why chicks, starting OnlyFans, right? Hey, somebody gotta pay. Somebody pay. And you know what? I can't knock it. I can't even knock it. You gotta do what you gotta do, right? All social contracts have been broken. And the reason why I would take it as far as the reason why the social contract between the man and the woman, in a traditional sense, when we talk about marriage, have been broken so severely, is because government, America, broke the social contract first, right? America broke the social contract first. So after that, it was a trickle down effect. So then you see women breaking the social contract because the government allowed it to happen, because they started breaking social contracts. And now all social contracts are completely broken. All social contracts are completely broken. It's done. So now we're at the point where now you have to make up your own. You have to make up your own. I'm in here spitting, man. Y'all drop a super chat. I'm in here spitting. Y'all drop a super chat. I'm giving y'all game after game after knowledge after knowledge after knowledge. I told y'all I don't even go this deep. Pause, no diddy. I don't even go this deep a lot of times. Right? Y'all hit that like button too. We got 60 people in here. We had 70 people in here a minute ago. We had 70 people in here a minute ago. We supposed to have 70 likes, at least 40 likes. At least 40 likes or something. Let's get the likes up. The like button is free. Just hit the like button, Ninja. You don't have to super chat. Ninja come in here and look at the like button the whole time. Like, Ninja, just hit the like button. Ninja, is that that hard, Ninja. It's right there, Ninja. It's right there, Ninja. Shouts out to the Driponomics. Appreciate the knowledge, bro. I appreciate the super chat. I appreciate the super chat. Moy says, thanks for being a G. I think a lot of people need to hear more of the truth, right? I think more people need to hear more of the truth. Um, it's not about race. It's not about, you know, differences per se. We all are more alike than the media, social media, society leads us to believe, right? Yeah, there may be some cultural differences. Yeah, there may be some, racial differences, but most of us are more alike than different, right? But we can only get to that point if people start telling the truth, right? We can only get to that point if people acknowledge, you know, wrong from right? That's the only way we can get to that point. Handsome Barber said the truth makes people mad. Yeah, and that's probably why we would never get to that point. That's why the gender war will continue, Ninja. That's why all wars will continue, because the truth, the world doesn't operate on truth. The world operates on deception, right? The world operates on deception, right? The world doesn't operate on tried and true principles, right? It operates on the ability to deceive, the ability to keep people brainwashed, the ability to keep people in the dark, right? Amir says that's why your views don't go up. Yeah, they mad at the after pill, but we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there one way or another. We're gonna get there one way or another, right? Moore says the truth shall set you free. The truth will set a lot of people free, but here's the thing: a lot of people don't want to be free. A lot of people don't want to be free, Moy. Right? Even when you talk about the enslaved Africans that came over here, well, that were brought over here, right? Many of them didn't want to be free. They were comfortable. They were comfortable on the plantation, Ninja. They were comfortable on the plantation. They were comfortable getting their ass beat, right? They were comfortable. Well, master feed us once a day, Ninja. It's okay, Ninja. Nah, Ninja, this ain't okay. I'm about to go kill master. What you talking about, Ninja? Right? I wouldn't do that if I was you, Ninja. I wouldn't do that. Next thing you know, Ninja go to sleep. Now he got dog in his room. Then they done put bro on his tree, Ninja. He tried to go in there and kill master. The other slaves done sold him out, Ninja. God damn. Right? And that's been throughout history, Ninja. You see what they did to Jesus, Ninja? They put Jesus on the dang on Roman cross and crucified him, Ninja. Trying to be different, Ninja. But sometimes the risk is worth the reward, right? Sometimes you got to stand out. That's why people scared to stand out. They don't want to get crucified by normies. They don't want to get crucified by the NPCs, right? They don't want to get crucified by the NPCs, right? That's why people okay with throwing you up under the bus. That's why people okay with casting you aside. That's why people okay with, you know, talking bad behind your back, because you're not like them. They not like us. They not like us. They not like us. Right? Some people will take it as far as saying, chosen ones, all of that, right? Right? You stand out. You're not normal. You're not like the NPCs, right? Your aura vibrates that, and people feel that, right? You don't take part in minuscule conversations, right? You don't want to hang, Ninja. Ninja want to go to the Ninja want to go to the bar, and Ninja want to go to the movies and talk about the football game. Ninja, I'm talking about the football game. Ninja, I'm trying to get out of here, Ninja. Ninja want to go to the bar and talk about the football game. Ninja, I don't want to talk about the football game. Ninja, I don't want to talk about the football game. Ninja, I'm trying to get out of here. Ninja, what's your plans, Ninja? What are your plans, Ninja? You trying to get out of here too, Ninja? Everything is burning around here, Ninja, but you want to talk about the football game, Ninja. Nah, I don't want to talk about the football game, Ninja. I'm trying to get out of here, Ninja. Do you have your passport, Ninja? Are you ready, Ninja? Are you ready? Ninja want to sit up here and talk about basketball, Ninja. Ninja, I don't hoop, Ninja. Do you, Ninja? I'm not trying to sit around and talk about the basketball game. Now, not saying that I don't sit and catch some highlights or something, but I'm just saying. Overall, people want to talk about very like stupid things, right? That don't mean anything, right? I don't like having those kind of conversations. I like having conversations about building, right? Shouts out to Moy with the super chat. Much love, tapping the game from the Northeast. Shouts out to Moy. If y'all haven't already, Moy has a YouTube channel over there. Make sure y'all go check Moy out. Got some bike content, bike life over there. Make sure y'all go check Moy out. He's over there doing a thug thizzle over there. But yeah, Cartier says tap too funny. Yep. But yeah, dudes wanna talk about the football game and all that stuff, bro. I don't have time. I don't have time to be talking about minuscule conversations, right? Normie conversation, NPC conversations. No, I don't want to talk about that, right? Do you want to talk about the economies overseas? What are the next emerging markets? Do you want to talk about that? Do you want to talk about crypto? Do you want to talk about the rise of blockchain? Right? Do you want to talk about things like that? Do you want to talk about the tokenization of real world assets? Right? What's coming in the future? You want to talk about that? You want to talk about where the money is really going? Follow the money? I don't have time to talk about stupid conversation. It's just not in me, right? When I'm at work, dudes want to, those regular, yeah, how's your day going? Well, yeah, just, out here going, Ninja, like, dudes don't have nothing to talk about. That's why I stay away from normie conversations, normie stuff. It's just stupid. Let's see. Tap, I appreciate you and the love you share. These conversations make it so I don't murk myself. Hey, we don't want to hear that kind of talk, boy. We don't want to hear that kind of talk. We all go through it, but stay strong out there. Life is hard. I never once say that life isn't hard, right? Life is hard. It's meant to be hard, right? It's meant to test you, especially for men. It's meant to test you. You're going to go through things, trials and tribulations, right? But if you stand 10-toed, learn from mistakes and then make as little mistakes as you can, right? You'll be all right. You'll be all right. But, you got to go through the fire to get to the water. Moy, I get what you're saying, Ninja. I get what you're saying. Don't do it, Moy. Don't do it. No, I'm just playing. I get what you're saying, though. But yeah, and then this ninja came out with the Trump coin. I mean, how corrupt can we get, man? How corrupt can we get? But people get so disillusioned, right? People get so disillusioned. When they get disillusioned, they let people. It's just like with women, right? The good-looking man, the tall man, the charming man. He can practically say whatever he wants to her. Like he can be like, oh yeah, you got some nice legs, baby. You got some nice legs, right? Right? How often you shave those legs, right? How often you get your nails and toes done? Those toes looking good. See, a charming man can say that, right? And then she'll just start blushing and, I do it here and there, right? And, the ugly dude come around. He come around the corner all fat and sloppy, looking like looking like nothing, right? Like, yeah, baby, how often you shave those legs? Then she looking at him like, why you want to know that, Ninja? I'm just saying, I like your legs. Okay, like, Yeah, how often do you get your nails and toes done, baby? She gonna look at it like, yep, HR ninja, HR. But it's the same way with people that they like. People, if people like the person, they let that person get away with much more, right? So that's what we're seeing, with the Trump administration, just violation after violation after violation. But people are just constantly sweeping it up under the rug for the sake of, oh, well, he's Trump. He was the best option that we had, right? He's come to save America. He's come to make America great again. Yeah, all right, Ninja. Yeah, all right. Before you go, drop your money sign or something. Find out what it does. Doesn't have utility. Is worthless long term. Yep. Utility tokens, utility coins are the future, right? Don't get me wrong. Some of these hype coins, meme coins, they will make some people rich, but it's more so speculation than utility. However, utility can be speculative as well. You really have to look at the white papers. Make sure you really study the company behind it, and look into what they're trying to achieve, what they're trying to accomplish. That's important. But mini coins in the future won't even be around in the future. You know, especially a lot of meme coins. A lot of meme coins going into the future, they won't be around. They won't be around. Even a lot of utility coins, because there's only so much. There's only so many utility coins that we can actually have. Right? There's only so many. But if they have true utility, then they're definitely going to stick around for the long haul. Especially the ones like XRP, XDC, XLM. You know, uh, I have some other things too. ZBCN. I've talked about that before. That makes transactions, large transactions, lightning fast, and they also play a part into tokenization. So let's say if purchasing a home, for instance, $300,000 home, instead of going to the bank and you're waiting a month, you're waiting 3 months, you're waiting 4 months, right, for that transaction to go through, and just a whole bunch of paperwork. Now such a large transaction is instant, right? Such a large transaction is now instant due to utility tokens that make that possible. So now it's just a split second, right? You have a home and you want to sell it. Okay, I have this token. I have $250,000 worth of this token. Boom, boom, right? We exchange wallets, or we exchange whatever. I just hand you the token or send the token to you, and because of tokenization, I'm able to transfer that asset into your wallet, and now you own that wallet. I mean, now you own that piece of asset via tokenization, and now the blockchain actually verifies that transaction. So it makes everything more secure, because you have people out here who can just go into you know uh public courts, and they can pull information on the house. When did you purchase it, the actual, I forgot the name of it, but the chain of sale or something like that, and actually see, okay, this house was bought in 1964, it was sold in 1980, it was sold again, this person bought it in 1990, it was worth this, it was worth that. Some people go in there and get that kind of information and try to involve themselves in certain kind of scams, and try to take homes from up under people, just different things. But blockchain and tokenization allows those transactions to be free and clear and secure. Like, you can't change the transaction history on the blockchain, because it's there, right? Shouts out to Moy for the super chat. Would you ever be curious in doing a members only StreamYard where we can all talk and have a conversation, debate on important philosophical topics? Yeah, I would be open to that. Actually, shouts out to Moy. Um, we gotta get. See, the thing is, we have members, but we definitely need some more active members. So if you haven't become a member, go ahead and become a member, because moving forward in the future, there's going to be a lot of philosophical stuff that I'm taking off of YouTube and actually adding to a Patreon, because I'm about to start traveling as well. to different countries. Already got the trip to the DR booked. Next trip, I'm already going ahead and start planning my Colombia trip and my Southeast Asia trip. Then we're going to start making our way, throughout Europe and Africa, many other parts of Latin America. So I'm about to start, ramping up, my traveling as well, just so I can communicate to you guys more effectively, on, okay, what's going on in this country, what's going on in that country, how's the economy in this country, how's this economy or how's this country, are they friendly, towards American expats, right? What is the citizenship process like? What is the dual citizenship like? What is the work visas like? What is the job market here? What is the business market looking like? So I'm about to start ramping up that kind of stuff, and a lot of that stuff I'm gonna take off of YouTube and put it on my Patreon, right? So a lot of stuff y'all not even gonna be able to get for free anymore. So like trying to do the members videos, and everything like that. We'll do things for members, but as far as overall how I'm moving in the future, right? There's gonna be a lot of things that I'm taking off of YouTube and putting on my Patreon, and the prices are gonna go up, right? Prices are gonna go up. So real philosophical stuff, ideological stuff, real travel details, right? The travel is gonna be on the YouTube, but real travel details and real breakdowns, that's gonna go on the Patreon. Coaching calls, one-on-ones, things of that nature. That's gonna be built into my website that I'm actually creating right now. So I got a lot of things in store right now. But more definitely, I'm trying to do some things like that. But I just need more active members. Like, we have some members, but they're not active. Like, I know, got you, got JC, got John. Who else? Got some other people, right? Cartier. Yeah, we have a few people, but as far as the other members, they're not very active. And I know, people have their own lives and stuff like that, not able to show up and show out. But we just need some more active members, right? Need some more active members. But even if it's just us four, because I also have the group chat. So we did a group chat. We did a group chat call yesterday, last night. So we had Dan 22 over there. Who else was over there? Cartier was over there. I don't think Cartier was able to make the call. We had JC over there. We had Coco over there. They were just asking me, different questions on, just motivation, and, how I stay motivated, how I started my YouTube, how I, was able to, communicate the way that I communicate now. I was telling them how I started off versus now, and, it wasn't easy, this, that, and so forth, right? But yeah, man. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here. Shouts out to everybody that showed up to this live stream. Go ahead and end this poll. So look at there. Ninja's still hoping out here. Are Americans giving up on America? 62% says yes, 37% says no, right? To each his own, Ninja. If y'all seeing the light, you seeing the light. I'm seeing the light, Ninja. So I think it's a lot more than people probably realize. But unless y'all just hoping, right? Unless you haven't given up, Ninja. Unless you're accounting for yourself, Ninja. But anyways, shouts out to y'all. Dang, I don't have the creed of the outlier on me right now. Dang, I just need to remember the creed of the outlier. I need to remember it. I need to make it a point to remember so I can just say it out loud on here, right? But no creed of the outlier right now, because I didn't remember it, Ninja. But anyway, shouts out to everybody that showed out. Shouts out to Moy. Shouts out to John. Shouts out to JC. Shouts out to Coco. Shouts out to everybody who came in and super chat. Amir says, finally the passport. Bro vlog comment. Shouts out to Amir. Amir getting his passport. Shouts out to him. He says, bro vlog coming soon, right? I got to subscribe to Amir. Make sure y'all go subscribe to Amir if you over there doing YouTube. Shouts out to everybody. And Ninja got to go and get ready for work, Ninja. After this job, Ninja. This is work right here, too. But now I got to go to the other work. So shouts out to y'all. Shouts out to everybody. Y'all stay safe out there. Stay grinding. Stay positive. See the light, Ninja. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.